Hey, Shalom, much love and respect to the family, to the tribe, all my followers out there. Today's presentation, I will be discussing the ancient animals of America, Amaruka, and that would include, like camels, horses, lions, cheetahs, elephants, and we're gonna discuss, their true origin. All right, and even though we have an idea of the Ice Age, and we got movies like the Ice Age and an idea of prehistoric animals in America that are now extinct, we never really, understand the importance of this and how it relates to the so-called old world and possibly the Bible, right? We've been learning a lot in the last couple of years. We've been remembering our true origin and home, and knowing now that America is the true old world, right? So, for example, when we think of ancient Egypt, we think of desert, right? Camels, pyramids, right? Now, what have we learned recently? We know ancient Egypt, right? That's a Greek word. We know it was really called Tameri, Ameri, beloved land. We know that was over here in Tamerika, right? Ancient Egypt was here in America. So, do we have pyramids over here? Yes. Do we have deserts over here? Yes. And did we have camels over here? That's a big yes. In fact, I will show you camels originated here in America. And horses, elephants, lions. Alright, we're gonna see all that. Alright, so we're in this website, lifescience.com, right? It says here 10 extinct giants that once roamed North America. A lot of you probably already seen these images and know about these animals. Alright, so I just wanted to real quickly just show you something right here. So, like right here, it says the North American horses, right? Because this is what they always tell us, right? That European settlers introduced horses when they landed in the New World. But little did they know the thunderous sound of ancient horses' hooves once covered the continent. Ancient horses lived in North America from about 50 million to 11,000 years ago, when they went extinct at the end of the last ice age, said Ross McPhee, a curator of mammalogy at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. So now what he's not telling you, right, is the origin, that where they originated, right? He just said they lived here, right? So it leaves you thinking like, oh, they must have come from Asia though, right? But okay, as it says here, one of the great peculiarities of this extinction is that they died out in North America, yet managed to survive in Eurasia and Africa, which is why we still have horses and their relatives. Donkeys and asses. So the ones in North America died out. You're gonna see this is a trend as we're gonna read throughout all this information. Something definitely happened over here in America, and we've been hearing about the mud floods and all that, and the flood and how it's looking like America was the true old world. So flood, mud flood, whatever you want to call it, happened most likely more on this side of the world. There was a mass extinction here. Something happened. We got the story of the Bible. We're gonna go into it a little bit, right, and how it pertains to stories from here in America about Noah, right, and how he brought animals over there. And so where did he supposedly land, right, in Asia, over there, and that side of the world. So kind of correlates with what they're saying here. It's weird, right? That they died out in North America, yet managed to survive in Eurasia and Africa. American cheetah, right? The American cheetah stood a little taller than the modern cheetah, with a shoulder height of about 2.75. All right, so now we know cheetahs and lions and all that are from the feline cat family, right? The big cats, and I'm going to show you where their most common ancestor really originated, and I'm going to show you how they don't really know where the cat family originated. They're still debating this today. All right, and then what do we have here? I told you in the beginning, camels, right? Check it out. So it says camels that once roamed North America are called camelops, Latin for yesterday's camel. However, camelops is more closely related to llamas than to today's camels. We're gonna actually debunk that. All right. Camelops, its an ancestor, were no strangers to the States. Fossils show that the Camelid family arose in North America during the Eocene period, about 45 million years ago. All right, whoa, back up. So if you know the ancestry, or where they come from, camels and llamas and all that, they will be classified under the Camelid family. All right, and again, this arose in where? North America. So wait a minute. So how is this possible? Like, I mean, where's the cradle of civilization, and where animals arose and all that started? You're telling me it's in North America, right? So where's Garden of Eden, right? The true beginning. Where did that happen? All right, if camels ended up all the way in Africa, right? And they actually originated in North America, right? There's a lot to think about. All right, so we know this is the true old world. We've read so many different correlations as to why, all this land out of the water, the legends of the Maya, the Mayach, all right, land that came from the bottom of the water, the first land out of the primordial waters. The most renowned geologists have already stated this. All right, and so we see that there is species or family kingdoms of animals originating in North America. All right, so if Mesopotamia and Iraq is the so-called Garden of Eden and all that over there, then what are we saying right here? All right, think about that. Let's continue with the video. All right, this is their representation of a camelot. All right, you see that? What's the difference between that and the camels? Pleistocene Megafauna. It says it's a set of large animals that lived on Earth during the Pleistocene epoch and became extinct during the Quaternary extinction event. All right, so we're gonna go to North America here. All right, it says during the American Megafauna extinction event around 12,000 years ago, 90 genera of mammals weighing over 44 kilograms became extinct. All right, so again, they got the giant sloths, short-faced bears, tapirs, peccaries, and it says right here, American lion. All right, so let me show you American lion. There's an extinct pantherine cat that lived in North America during the Pleistocene epoch 340 to 11,000 years ago. All right, so we had lions too. All right, we had lions. And again, camelids, right? Camelids, we had camelids here. Llamas at extinct, and camelops, again, camels. All right. All right, so you're like, but Kurimeo, those are just some regular websites. All right, so let's just get into this, right? So again, I told you the camels are from the Camelidae family. All right, and it says here, molecular evolution of the family Camelidae, a mitochondrial DNA study by Helen F. Stanley, Miranda Cadwell, and Jane C. Wheeler. Conservation Genetics Group, Institute of Zoology, Regent Parks, London, and Facultad de Medicina Veterinaria, Universidad de San Marcos, Lima, Peru. All right, so says here, introduction, the family Camelidae, which originated in North America. Again, what? Originated where? In North America. So wait a minute, I thought the Garden of Eden was over there in Iraq, Mesopotamia, over there, What's going on here? During the Eocene, 40 to 45 million years ago. Now it comprises 2 Old World tribe Camelini and 4 New World tribe Lamini, species with the division between the Lamini and the Camelini dating to approximately 11 millennia ago. Migrations to South America and Asia occurred approximately 3 million years ago. So they just got them 3 million years ago. We've been had camels here way longer than they had them over there. All right, and who's to say they weren't here still? All right, when they came back. All right, so again, they originated in North America and they migrated to South America and Asia. So what is this telling us? And both the Camelini and Lamini subsequently became extinct in North America. All right, so again, I'm gonna put all these links up for you and in the video description, so you can go ahead and read the whole thing. All right, so now we're here in this website, part of the PBS channel. It says Wildlife Journal Junior. It says Camelidae, camels, llamas, alpacas, and vicuñas. Although there are no living species of Camelidae family in North America today, the fossil records, again, the fossil records, real science, right, shows that the family started and evolved there. The Camelid family started. It started origin. We're talking about garden of Eden. We're talking about the first land out of the water. All right, where animals eventually evolved and started. All right, the Camelidae family is one of those. The camel, an icon of Egypt, right? That was over here. Ancient Egypt, Tamari was over here. Members of this family migrated to South America and Asia. They went to Asia from here, over land bridges, they say. They don't know this stuff. They don't know if it was from the Bering Bridge or if the land was already attached, if it extended all the way to Asia. They don't know. They guess. All right, but they know that it originated here because of the fossil records. All right, I'm in the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health, it says here. And this is an article that says the history of old world camelids in the light of molecular genetics. All right, it says old world camels have come into the focus as sustainable livestock species, unique in their morphological and physiological characteristics and capable of providing vital products even under extreme environmental conditions. The evolutionary history of dromedary and Bactrian camels traces back to the Middle Oligocene, around 40 million years ago, when the ancestors of the Camelus emerged on the North American continent. Again, where? On the North American continent, not Asia, not Africa. So we got this article that says camels bring tourists to Mexico, Sonoran Desert, right? By Tracy Lopez. It says, no, it's not a mirage. Those tourists are riding camels through the desert near the popular vacation destination Cabo San Lucas. Look at that. On Mexico's Baja California Peninsula. All right. Look what he says. As he explains, and this is talking about C.D. Amar, who was recently interviewed by Kim Melny Ducharts of Reuters, is a member of the nomadic Tuareg people of Niger and North Africa, and he cares of 8 dromedary camels used for tours. So he works here in Mexico now doing tours, right? Look what he says. It says, as he explains, the camels are well suited to living in the region. They're well suited to living in the region. Sonora Desert and the Sahara Desert are at the same latitude, says Amar. The weather is same. The flora, the fauna is the same as in the Sahara Desert. So it's a perfect weather for them. All right, perfect for camels to live in that part of America. It's perfect for them. Look at this drop back. You think, where's the true ancient Tamari or Egypt? All right, it was here. So we got, so abundance, right? So I.P. camelus, also known as the long-necked camel, is an extinct genus of camelid which lived during the Miocene 20 to 6 million years ago. All right, so taxonomy and morphology is going to just keep telling you that it's basically found in America, mainly in Colorado. It says I.P. camelus was a prairie dweller of North America, Colorado. It was a highly specialized animal. Its head was relatively small compared with the rest of his body. Its neck was long as a result of giraffe-like lengthening of the cervical vertebrae, and its legs were long and stilt. All right, so you can see the map here. All right, so this is the map where it lived. All right, again, you see all over North America. Again, North America. Camels and llamas of Anso Borrego. That's an excavation site. Ansa Borrego. The family Camelidae, comprising camels and llamas, are native North Americans. The first fossil camels derived from small rabbit-sized animals were found in Utah. What? Where? Judah? Are we talking about? Could this be the place of Eden? An original Eden place? Utah, Four Corner region. A lot of stuff coming out of Utah. All right, this is North America. Texas and California. In mid-Oligocene deposits approximately 45 million years old in the late Oligocene and early Miocene. All right. Camels underwent rapid evolutionary changes into wide varieties of forms, including those with short limbs, those with gazelle-like bodies, and giraffe-like camels with long legs and long necks. The rich diversity of late Miocene and Pliocene gradually decreased until there were only a few species remaining at the time of their extinction in North America, approximately 11,000 years ago. Camelids migrated into Eurasia. They migrated from here, America, into Eurasia, all right, and evolved into the modern dromedary and Bactrian camels. Then they evolved, all right, from here. They also migrated to South America and established modern llamas, vicuñas, alpacas, and guanacos, all right. And it says here, Oxydactylus is an extinct genus of camelid and endemic to North America, a native or of this region, all right. It lived from the Oligocene to the Middle Holocene, all right. Again, from North America. Puebrotherium is an extinct genus of camelid endemic to North America. Again, North America. All right, they lived approximately 46 million years ago. All right, this is very old. Procamelus. Procamelus is an extinct genus of camel endemic to what? North America. Are you getting the trend? Am I repeating myself too much? It lived from middle to late Miocene, 16 million years ago. All right, America. All right, here's the picture. We got Protylopus. Protylopus is an extinct genus of camel that lived during the middle late Eocene, some 45 to 40 million years ago. And where? North America once again. The oldest camel known, it was also the smallest, reaching a length of 80 centimeters and probably weighing around 26 kilometers. Based on its teeth, it's probably fed on the soft leaves of forest plants. Again, the oldest camel known. And where is he from? North America. All right, Amaraca. Stenomylus is an extinct genus of miniature camelid native to North America that died out around 30 million years ago. Native to North America. Where's the true Garden of Eden? All right, it says here San Diego Natural History Museum. The western camel, extinct Camelops hysterus. All right, it says here, despite the fact that we presently associate camels with the deserts of Asia and Africa, the camelid family originated in North America during the Middle Eocene. So they've been basically brainwashing us, throwing us images of ancient Egypt being over there, right? When we had camels, we were riding them over here, and we had pyramids. All right, but during the Pleistocene, great numbers of camelops probably moved in herds across North America. Imagine herds of camels running all over North America. All right, where's the true old world? All right, you see this image right here? Look at that. You know, imagine the camels just running around here in North America, right? So we're going to talk about a lot of animals here and a lot of things. It might get boring to you, but it should not. All right, it's a lot of good info. We're going to show a lot of correlation here, and this article I found here in National Geographic correlates with what I'm going to basically be showing. And it says here the rise of mammals. All right, and we're going to go to a certain part of this article. So it says early in the Miocene, Africa's long isolation ended when it and Arabia came back into contact with Eurasia. That's when the ancestors of many mammals we think of native to Africa arrived. All right, so a lot of animals that you thought were native to Africa, that's when they actually came. They weren't in Africa. All right, first came the ancestors of the antelope. All right, we're gonna see, well, if you study the hoofed animals that originated in America. So antelope has hooves, and then we got cats. We're gonna see where they originate, giraffes, and rhinos. Later, around 10 million years ago, North American mammals like camels, there you go, camels, horses, and dogs. All right, North American mammals, these are from America, originate in America. Camels, horses, and dogs. Yes, dogs. You know my Shallot video, Anubis and Shallot, and how the ancestors had this animal very sacred, and the same kind of mythology as you find with Anubis is the exact same with Shallot. Very ancient dog they had, and you can see the dogs originated in America.
All right, so it says about 10 million years ago they began to arrive there. All right, almost every animal that roams the Serengeti today is a relative newcomer to the continent. All right, you're always boasting about the lion and giraffes and camels and all that stuff, and that's not even native to your continent. All right, it's a newcomer, a newcomer. All right. So we're going to talk about a lot of animals, mainly mammals, right? So it says here the evolution of mammals. So it says the evolution of mammals has passed through many stages since the first appearance of their synapsid ancestors. So the synapsid is basically like the first kind of reptilian mammal-like animal, right? Like in between, they're saying that's what they're describing, and it says that the ancestors were in the Pennsylvanian subperiod of the late Carboniferous period. All right, so Pennsylvanian, what is that? All right, so Pennsylvanian geology, what does that mean? All right, it says the Pennsylvanian, also known as the Upper Carboniferous or Late Carboniferous, is the ICS geologic timescale, younger of the two subperiods. All right, so it says it lasted from roughly 323.2 million years ago to 298 million years ago. Very long time, right? As with most other geochronologic units, the rock beds that define the Pennsylvanian are well identified. They know what they're talking about, and they know what region of the world specifically is what they're going to tell you. But the exact date of the start and end are uncertain by a few hundreds of thousands of years. The Pennsylvanian is named after U.S. state of Pennsylvania, where the coal productive beds of this age are widespread. All right, it was mainly there. So what happened there? Again, mammals first evolved from there, Pennsylvania. We're talking about North America. We're talking about the oldest land out of the water, right? Remember part one? What does Louis Agassiz tell us? And now the Maya also, it's in their foundational mythology and history, actually, that they are the first, out of the water, the Mayach, from the bosom of the water, they came up. And if you read the Popul Vuh, has the same story as Genesis, the creation story. All right, so we're talking about the real old world. All right. So again, the evolutionary history, right, of the mammals. It says the Archaeopteryx and Cleocidrops. All right, I know these names are weird. You're gonna hear a lot of names, a lot of different species throughout this video. Just bear with me. You can watch it a couple times. Maybe it'll, you understand, and we should be able to distinguish between all of them and where they go. But these two, again, is the earliest known synapsids. Remember, these are the first reptilian mammal-like animals that lived in the Pennsylvania subperiod. So they know this was in Pennsylvania area right there. The beds, they got the proof. They know it happened 323 between 29 million years ago, they say, right? Supposedly, right? And again, this is the animals they show. I just wanted you to see real quick. They start having hair, fur, and all that, and they say it start evolving, right? Well, that's the story they tell us, right? But what I want to show you is that they're admitting that this happened here, and they called it the Pennsylvania geologic scale or time scale. All right. So I'm reading this article now from the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health. All right, Scholastic Journal here by L.L. Jacobs. It says D.A. Winkler and P.A. Murray. It says modern mammal origins, evolutionary grades in the early Cretaceous of North America. All right. Now it starts talking about it too. It says major groups of modern mammals have their origins in the Mesozoic era, yet the mammalian fossils record is generally poor for that time interval. Fundamental morphological changes that led to modern mammals are often represented by small samples of isolated teeth. Fortunately, functional wear facets on teeth allow prediction of the morphology of occluding teeth that may be unrepresented by fossils. All right, so it's a lot to read here, but I just want to show you what they're saying. Basically, down here you can pause it if you want to read all of it. And it says, a tooth from the early Cretaceous, this is about 110 million years before the present, of Texas, right, in Texas, North America again, tests previous predictions based on lower molars of the morphology of upper molars in early tribal phonic definitions. Lingual cus protocone is primitive without sheer facets, as expected, but the cheek side of the tooth is derived, advanced, and having distinctive cups along the margin. The tooth, although distressingly inadequate to define many features of the organism, demonstrates unexpected morphological diversity at a strategic stage of mammalian evolution and falsifies previous claims of the earliest occurrence of true marsupials. So it falsifies theories they already had. So there's a lot of new information. We're going to see that throughout this video as well. And, again, just have an open mind when I'm reading the rest of the stuff, because now, mammals originated here. Now that you know that, now have some common sense, right? Because we just read, right, in the National Geographic article, all those mammals that ended up in Africa, right, that weren't even there. So where do you think they're coming from? What was the track they took to get there, right? Because what I'm going to show you, and I've shown you before, is, for example, like this map right here, right, is showing America and Asia actually connected. And they tell us this all the time. They'll tell us that at that time Asia and America was connected. A lot of these things are basically originating in America or supposedly in Asia. But if they're connected, right, isn't it like they were in America too? I mean, they're not going to just stay in Asia, right? And the mammals originated in America. So how did they get to Asia? You understand what I'm saying? So even though they grab and they'll say, well, this animal originated in Asia, they're not going all the way back, right? You're just starting right there. There's a history before that, all right? And this land was all connected, as this map shows, all right? Just want to talk about something that relates to and correlates to what we're talking about, and what I just mentioned about a reversed migration from here over to Asia to Africa. All right, so in this book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World by Ignatius Donnelly, I've read this many times before in other videos and in other lives with other people. All right, very good book. I'm just going to go to a certain section right here. The global flood story is not just in the Bible. Like, you can find the story in the Hindu texts, Chaldean, Assyrian, many European, many of the we're going to see here American tribes mythology as well. But in the Egyptian, it's a bit different, and they don't talk about a global catastrophe. They talk about that it happened in certain sections of the world or certain places, all right? And that's why their story is not like the Bible's, but it's more like, they're the ones who supposedly told the Greeks the story of Atlantis, right? So Atlantis wasn't in their regions, right? So it says, to my mind, the explanation of this singular omission is very plain. The Egyptians had preserved in their annals the precise history of the destruction of Atlantis, out of which the flood legends grew. And as they told the Greeks, there had been no universal flood, but only local catastrophes, Assessing the real history of the local catastrophe which destroyed Atlantis, they did not indulge in any myths about universal deluge covering the mountaintops of all the world. They had no Ararat in their neighborhood. There's no Ararat near there. The traditions of early Christian ages touching the deluge pointed to the quarter of the world in which Atlantis was situated. That's where it happened, in Atlantis/America. Remember, we already got this. Atlantis is America. I go check out Jaguar's channel. We're in part 7 there. Atlantis is America. How much more information do you need in correlation? There was a quaint old monk named Cosmos, who about 1,000 years ago published a book, Topografia Cristiana, accompanied by a map in which he gives his view of the world as it was then understood. It was a body surrounded by water and resting on nothing. Earth, says Cosmos, pressed downward, but the igneous parts tend upward, and between the conflicting forces, the earth hangs suspended like Muhammad's coffin in the old story. The accompanying illustration on page 95 represents the earth surrounded by ocean, and beyond this ocean was the land where men dwelt before the deluge. All right, so check this out. You see this image right here? They're telling you that they were surrounded by water, I guess, and beyond that, there's more land where the first men, all right, the first men dwelt before the deluge. He then gives us a more accurate map and detail of the known world of his day. I copied this map not to show how much more we know than poor Cosmos, but because he thought that all around this habitable world there was yet another world, adhering closely on all sides, the circumscribing walls of heaven. Upon the eastern side of this transmarine land, the eastern side, the far east, right? He judges man was created. Man was created in the east, he says. In the east, far east. Remember, this is like the Mediterranean right here. This is Africa, Europe, this Arabia and India and all that right over here. In the far east, right? So he's saying east. So again, on the eastern side of this transmarine land, he judges man was created, and that there the paradise of gladness was located. Paradise, Garden of Eden, right? What does the Bible say? All the animals was put in the Garden of Eden, right? Animals, we're talking about animals, right? Mammals originated in America, all right? In the Pennsylvania geological timescale, all right? Now, let's keep going. It says, such as here on the eastern edge is described, all right? East. Where it received our first parents, driven out of paradise to that extreme point of land on the seashore. Hence, upon the coming of the deluge, Noah and his sons were born by the ark to the earth we now inhabit. The four rivers he's supposed to be gushing up the spouts of paradise. They are depicted on the above map. O is the Mediterranean Sea, all right? So O, right? P is the Arabian Gulf, L, the Caspian Sea, Q, the Tigris, M, the river Pison, and J, the land where men dwelt before the flood. All right, so where is J? Oh, look at J right here, up here in the top left corner. All right, so if you're in Europe and you go west, what's over there? America, right? Again, J is where men dwelt before the flood, according to Cosmos. All right. It will be observed that while he locates paradise in the east, he places the scene of the deluge in the west. All right. So if you go all the way east from China, where do you end up? America, right? And if you go all the way west from Europe, where do you end up? America, right? So he's right in both ways, right? And he supposes that Noah came from the scene of the deluge to Europe. This shows that traditions in time of Cosmos looked to the west as the place of the deluge. You hear this? Traditions in his time, they knew that the deluge happened in the west or in America, and that after the deluge, Noah came to the shores of the Mediterranean. The fact too that there was land in the west beyond the ocean is recognized by Cosmos and is probably a dim echo from Atlantean times. Now we're in chapter 5, right? Atlantis, the Antediluvian World by Ignatius Donnelly. Now it says here, the Deluge Legends of America. It is a very remarkable fact, says Alfred Maury, that we find in America traditions of the deluge coming infinitely nearer to that of the Bible and the Chaldean religion than among any people of the old world. All right? So the traditions they found in America resemble so much more the story of the people of the old world than any other, mythology they find all over the world. In America, right? We just know the deluge, as Cosmos said, happened in the West, in America. So of course they would have the closest, nearest, because this is the original story before it was hijacked and made into Bible, right? Now we continue in the book. Now it says, the most important among the American traditions are the Mexican, for they appear to have been definitely fixed by symbolic and mnemonic paintings before any contact with Europeans. According to these documents, the Noah of the Mexican cataclysm was Coxcox, called by certain peoples Teocipactli or Tespi. He had saved himself together with his wife Xochiquetzal in a bark, or according to other traditions, on a raft made of cypress wood. Cypress, cedar wood, the strongest wood. All right. Cypressus disticha. Paintings recounting the deluge of Cocox have been discovered among the Aztecs, Mixtecs, Zapotecs, Tlaxcaltecs, and Michoacaneses. All right, so they have the codices with this story of Coxcox. The tradition of the latter is still more strikingly in conformity with the story as we have it in Genesis and in Chaldean sources, all right? So it tells how Tepsi embarked in a spacious vessel with his wife, his children, and several animals, and grain whose preservation was essential to the subsistence of the human race. When the great god Tezcatlipoca decreed that the waters should retire, Tezpi sent a vulture from the bark. The bird feeding on the carcasses with which the earth was laden did not return. Tezpi sent out other birds, of which the hummingbird only came back with a leafy branch in its beak. Then Tezpi, seeing that the country began to vegetate, left his bark on the mountain of Colhuacan. The document, however, that gives the most valuable information says Lenormand. As to the cosmogony of the Mexican is the one known as Codex Vaticanus from the library where it is preserved. It consists of 4 symbolic pictures representing the 4 ages of the world preceding the actual one. They were copied at Cholula from a manuscript anterior to the conquest and accompanied by the explanatory commentary of Pedro de los Rios, a monk, who in 1566, less than 50 years after the arrival of Cortes, devoted himself to the research of indigenous traditions as being necessary to his missionary work. All right, so continuing the book Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, it says that the name of the hero of the Aztec story, Nata, pronounced with the broad sound of ah, is not far from the name of Noah or Noé. The deluge of Genesis is a Phoenician, Semitic, or Shemitic, or Hebraic legend, and yet strange to say the name of Noah, which occurs in it, bears no appropriate meaning in those tongues, but is derived from Aryan sources. Its fundamental root is Na, to which in all the Aryan languages is attached to the meaning of water, to flow. Nympha, Neptunus, water deities. We find the root Na repeated in the name of this Central American Noah, Nata, and probably in the word Nahualt, the age of water. But still more striking analogies exist between the Chaldean legend and the story of the deluge as told in the Popul Vuh, the sacred book of the Central Americans. Then the waters were agitated by the will of the heart of heaven, Huracan, and a great inundation came upon the heads of these creatures. They were engulfed, and a resinous thickness descended from heaven. The face of the earth was obscured, and a heavy darkening rain commenced. Rain by day and rain by night. There was heard a great noise above their heads, as if produced by fire. Then were men seen running, pushing each other, filled with despair. They wished to climb upon their houses, and the houses, tumbling down, fell to the ground. They wished to climb upon the trees, and the trees shook them off. They wished to enter into the grottos or caves, and the grottos closed themselves before them. Water and fire contributed to the universal ruin at the time of the last great cataclysm, which preceded the fourth creation. All right, again, that was from the Popul Vuh. Recommend you reading the Popul Vuh. I've told you, this is where most of the stories of the Old Testament or Genesis you would find right here in the Popul Vuh. All right, so just to correlate, just to show you it's not just in this antediluvian Atlantis book. This is actual real history. We find the same story in the writings of Lord Kingsborough here in the Antiquities of Mexico. Again, this is a comprising facsimiles of ancient Mexican paintings and hieroglyphics. The first 4 volumes are just the codices and the drawings of the structures, and from volume 5 to 9 is the explanation of the codices, and volume 6, this is where we are now. It's translated mostly all in English. All right, so we're going to go to a part of this volume 6 where they're talking about Noah. So on page 117, it says here the explanation of plate 5, Quetzalcoatl, right? After the deluge, the custom of sacrificing commenced. It says here, according to scripture, therefore, sacrifices commenced immediately after the deluge, but sin, according to the notions of the Mexicans, commenced much earlier, for they believed that sin began with time. Noah was called by the Mexicans Petacatle and Zipaquetona. They said that he invented the art of making wine, which is generally agreed was not known before the deluge, since the patriarchs Noah and Lot were ignorant of its effects, and that he was preserved with 6 others in an ahuehuete, or ark of fir, which is one less than Moses says were saved from the deluge. Since 8 persons entered the ark, and that shortly afterwards his descendants built the Tower of Tulan in Cholula. Remember Cholula, part 3 of this series? Tower of Babel, Cholula, and the legends there was built by giants, right? Partly from curiosity to see what was going on in heaven, and partly from fear of another deluge. So in another page of this book, it says Petacatele was the Noah of the New World. He is called by some writers Coxcos, as well as Zipaquetona. Coxcos was the name likewise of the king of Colhuacan, and who states the Mexicans sought an asylum after their long peregrinations. Again, this was Antiquities of Mexico by Lord Kingsborough. You can find all these codices in all these prestige libraries and museums. All right. University of Washington website. It says new study traces the marsupial origins in North America. Finds mammal during Ice Age. Dinosaur packed a powerful bite. All right. So they found a marsupial that had a very, very strong bite, stronger than most any mammal they found ever. Recorded, it says here, right? I just want to go down to this part. So in addition to finding an animal with the strongest bite, it says, in addition, the team retraced the origins of marsupials. Previous theories attribute South America as the origin of marsupials, but anatomical features of the didelphodon point to marsupials originating in North America 10 to 20 million years earlier than originally thought, and later dispersing and diversifying in South America. So even though it's still in America, right? Marsupials, all right? Add that to the list. An animal originating in America, okay?
All right, so now we're back in lifescience.com, and we're gonna get into the horses now, right? So, I mean, now when I look for it, they're kind of admitting now, right? They're changing the script, call it a Mandela effect if you want, but I remember when I was young, and it was like almost a common fact that horses did not originate in America, that they were brought by the Spaniards. That's what they told me in school, that they were never here, that the American Indians or anybody here, didn't have, never encountered a horse. It wasn't part of our history at all. So let's debunk this story now, all right? Because it says here, The Surprising History of America's Wild Horses by J. Kirkpatrick and Patricia Pescio. Modern horses, zebras, and asses belong to the genus Equus, all right? Equus, the only surviving genus in a once diverse family, the Equidae, all right? Remember these two words. Based on fossil records, again, based on science, what we can see, what we can prove as fact, the genus appears to have originated in North America about 4 million years ago and spread to Eurasia, presumably by crossing the Bering Land Bridge 2 to 3 million years ago. Again, you just got the horses. We've been had them. All right, and they're saying presumably. They don't know. They don't know, but they know. They know. They'll say appears, because they have to suck up all these years of lies, all this false history that they've been telling us since we were young, right? So now the genus appears. We appear to have been mistaken. It originated here in North America. That's what they're saying. All right, horses. We had horses. They didn't bring it over here. You got to prove that to me, that there wasn't no horses here already that look just like the modern horse. You got to prove it to me, because now you're just going with theories and you're just going with imagination. Because if your logic tells you, well, there was horses here and originated here, they say they went extinct. Now we got to believe everything they say, right? Oh, they went extinct. Oh, they didn't exist lions. Oh, no camels. No. All right, so we got to believe now we got to believe, right? But let's just use for this video, let's just use our logic. All right. Now again, it went from North America, just like the camel, to Asia, right? Because when we grew up, they were telling us all animals were originating in Asia, Europe, and Africa. All right. And now we're seeing that very important animals were originating here. Talking about the camel and the horse. All right, so where again is the true Garden of Eden? You're talking about Mesopotamia over there. You're talking about where's the true cradle of civilization? If we got corn, right? If we started agriculture, right? There's a lot to correlate here. I hope you're following along. Again, Following that original emigration, there were additional westward migrations to Asia and return migrations back to North America. Return. So I thought the Europeans brought them. No, they actually came back on their own, they say here, as well as several extinctions of eco-species in North America. Now, that's the other thing. Several extinctions of the same eco-species, like horses you never even knew about existed only here, only in America. The last prehistoric North American horses died out between 13,000 and 11,000 years ago at the end of the Pleistocene, but by then ecos had spread to Asia, Europe, and Africa. So some got saved, right? Animals that on paleontological grounds could be recognized as subspecies of the modern horse originated in North America between 1 million and 2 million years ago. All right, so we're in this website, Encyclopedia Britannica now, all right? And the title is a little bit covered. They're hating on me with this ad right here. It says, tracing the history of horse evolution and domestication. All right, this is Encyclopedia Britannica. We're going to zoom in. It says, new clues to the origins of the horse and the spread of its domestication were presented in 2012. All right, so this is new information. Like I told you before, they told us lies all our lives, that there was never horses here. They didn't want you to think like that. They didn't want you to think, oh, Romans, horses, Greeks, horses, Egyptians, horses. They didn't want you to relate all that stuff together here in America, right? But again, new clues to the origins of the horse and the spread of its domestication were presented in 2012 by a multinational team of scientists led by Vera Warmuth of the University of Cambridge, in their bid to piece together the genetic structure of the wild horse, Equus ferus, and to determine the location of the first domesticated horse populations. The research sampled the DNA of more than 300 animals across Europe and Asia. All right, so this is real science. From Vilnius, Lith, to Overkangai, Mongolia. The data collected by the study allowed scientists to estimate the timing of the evolution of E. ferus and confirm the location of its first domestication. All right, so it says the evolution of the horse. The evolutionary lineage of the horse from its origins during the Eocene epoch 55 million to 33.9 million years ago through the present is among the best documented in all paleontology. It's the best documented, meaning they got the best evidence, scientific data, all right, to boldly state what they're saying right now. All right, they're letting you know, all right, there's no doubt. During the early Eocene, there appeared the first ancestral horse, a hoofed browsing mammal, designated correctly as Hyracotherium, but more commonly called Eohippus, the dawn horse. Fossils of Eohippus, which have been found in both North America and Europe, show an animal that stood 4.2 to 5 hands high, diminutive by comparison with the modern horse, and had an arched back and raised hindquarters. The legs ended in padded feet with 4 functional hooves on each of the 4 feet and 3 on each of the hind feet, quite unlike the unpaddled single-hooved foot of modern equines. Now I know up here I just said something about North America and Europe, but check out what it says down here. It says, although Eohippus fossils occurred in both the Old and New World, the subsequent evolution of the horse took place chiefly in where? Again, North America, the true Old World, the true Garden of Eden, the true cradle of civilization, North America / America / so-called Atlantis. During the remainder of the Eocene, the prime evolutionary changes were in dentition, Hippidion, meaning little horse, an extinct genus of horse that lived in South America from the Pliocene to the Middlecene. Wow, look at this. So this is Hippidion. What is the difference between this and the modern horse? Tell me. All right. Originated in South America. All right. Wikipedia evolution of the horse. The evolution of the horse, a mammal of the family Equidae, occurred over a geologic time scale of 50 million years, transforming the small dog-sized forest-dwelling Eohippus into the modern horse. Paleozoologists have been able to piece together a more complete outline of evolutionary lineage of the modern horse than of any other animal. Much of this evolution took place in North America, where horses originated, but it became extinct about 10,000 years ago. So now I'm in this book, Animals of the Past, an account of some of the creatures of the ancient world, by Frederick A. Lucas, director of the American Museum of Natural History. All right? This is from 1922. All right? Again, American Museum of Natural History, Handbook Series number 4. And we're on page 133 of this book, chapter 10. It says, The Ancestry of the Horse. It says the horse was just as abundant in North America in Pleistocene time as in Europe, but there is no evidence to show that it was contemporary with early man in North America. So he says there's no evidence, right? But there is cave paintings, right? And we got Mexican codices, right? And even were this the case, it is generally believed that long before the discovery of America, the horse had disappeared. So even if there was horses, he's saying, right, it believed that they had already gone into extinction, but they told us they didn't even exist here ever, right? So now in his time, he knew this stuff. Now listen to what he says. And yet, so plentiful and so fresh are his remains, and so much like those of the Mustang, that the late Professor Copy was wont to say that it almost seemed as if the horse might have lingered in Texas until the coming of the white man. What? Because they were so abundant. You hear what he just said? Professor Cope says there was horses here still lingering when the white man came to Europe. You hear this? There was still horses here. They didn't bring them. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? This is from the museum, American Museum of Natural History. Remember the book I'm reading. They're letting you know little hints here, little secrets, right? There was horses here lingering here and there still. And Sir William Flower wrote, there is a possibility of the animal having still existed in a wild state in some parts of the continent remote from that which was first visited by the Spaniards, where they were certainly unknown. The horse was here, my people. We had horses, all right? We were riding these horses. This is how we got around a lot of the times. They were abundant here. We had all types of horses. We were abundant. The Mustang is from here. They didn't bring these horses, right? There was parts that they were so remote that these horses were still running around. And so by the time history was written, their horses mixed with our horse, they must have just spread all over the place, all right? But they're letting you know here in this book, right, that they were still here. It has been suggested that those horses which were found by Cabot in La Plata in 1530 cannot have been introduced. You hear that? The ones he found were not introduced because it's 1530. Barely getting into these places, these Spaniards. He found some horses they're saying cannot have been introduced. They were already here. All right, now we're going to read from this book called Extinct Monsters and Creatures of Other Days, a popular account of some of the larger forms of ancient animal life by Reverend H.N. Hutchinson, B.A., with illustrations by J. Smith, Allison Woodward. It says here, and this is from 1911. In the book it says, it will thus be seen how abundant is the material for tracing the evolution of the horse in America. In that country, the Equus fraternus of Lady is believed to be almost, if not entirely, identical with the Equus caballus, identical to the modern horse, what we know, of the Old World. All right, of the Old World. It's similar, it is the same. America is the true Old World. Of course, it's identical. Only in the upper Pliocene deposits does the true horse appear, and then the genealogy is complete. It roamed over the whole of North and South America, and soon after seems to have become extinct. There is no doubt that man and the horse was contemporaneous in early days. Alright, there is no doubt that man and the horse were contemporaneous in early days. But it can be proved beyond doubt that at the time of the Spanish conquest, few, if any, horses were left. It has been, alright, so you hear that? So, a few were left. They're admitting in this book, right, again, that a few horses were left. They can't say they weren't here. It has been thought from certain references contained in old narratives that at least in South America, the animal may possibly have still lingered on after the coming of the Europeans. Do you hear that? Another source, another book telling you that when the white man got here, the Europeans, the Spaniards, there was already horses here, possibly lingering. Of course they were. Of course they were here already. This is where they evolved. And it says here, although the Bernissart iguanodon has been to us a complete revelation of what a dinosaur really looked like, it is to America, and chiefly to the discoveries of Marsh, that we owe the knowledge of a whole series of new reptiles and mammals, many of which will be found illustrated within these pages. Alright, so it's mainly in America. Alright, certainly both in singular forms of fossil reptilia and in early mammals, North America carries off the palm. Alright, so continuing the book, Extinct Monsters and Creatures of Other Days. Alright, it says here, we're going to look at a sketch, a diagram, a map. The sketch map shown in figure 9.3 will give the reader a general idea of the positions of different geological basins in western North America, where the strata have been found so to yield so many valuable relics of ancient tertiary life. Alright, so many fossils. There's so many fossils in the western United States, alright, in the Four Corner region and all that. Says American geologists tell us that a long time ago, during the Eocene period, there was a great tropical lake in the Wyoming territory, on the borders of which roamed amidst luxuriant vegetation a large number of strange and primitive quadrupeds, together with many other forms of life. So all this desert area was lush. It was an Eden. All right. The most wonderful group of animals that haunted the shores of this lake or perhaps river valley was the Dinocerata, so fully described by Professor Marsh in his exhaustive monograph. The name implies that they were terrible horned monsters, but whether nature provided them with true horns, like those of horned cattle today, is at least open to doubt. Alright, so it's figure 94, which is this one right here with the skeleton, shows the skeleton of these, namely Tynoceras ingens. And length was about 12 feet high without the tail. Its weight went, alright, so they're describing how it looks, right? Alright, so this is exhibited in the Natural History Museum of South Kensington, which was generously presented by Professor Marsh. Looking at the skeleton, one is struck with a certain resemblance to the rhinoceros, alright, on one hand, and to the elephant on the other. The legs are very elephantine, and the feet must have been covered with thick pads, but the body reminds one more of a rhinoceros. So this is what they're showing right here, what it might have looked like. So remember they're saying it looks like almost like an elephant, rhino. All right, and this is from America. Again, remember America. All right. This here in the country east of the Rocky Mountains, including the states of Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming, and part of Colorado, Professor Marsh has discovered the remains of yet another strange group of large quadrupeds. The best known of these is Brontops, of which the skeleton is seen in figure 97. These animals lived after the Dinocerata, namely in the Miocene period, and were the largest American mammals of that period. They constitute a distinct family more nearly allied to the rhinoceros than to any other living form. The skeleton of which figure 97 is found was the most complete of any yet discovered by Professor Marsh. And this is what it looks like, it says here. I know it's a little, but look at it, it's just like a rhino. I mean, look at it. Alright, so this is from America. Remember, this is from America. Alright. Now, in this same book, Extinct Monsters and Creatures of the Other Days, alright, we're in chapter 14. And it says here the story of the elephants. Alright, just want to talk about elephants now. It says the science of paleontology is always advancing, sometimes by leaps and bounds, at other times slowly but surely. It is our pleasant duty to record here a great step in advance made some 7 years ago, chiefly by the researchers in Egypt of Dr. C.W. Andrews, FRS. His discoveries in the district known as the Fayum have enabled him to solve a very important and interesting problem, namely the evolution of the elephant, the only living representative of that strange order known to naturalists and paleontologists as the Proboscidea. All right. Now, listen to what he's saying, though. All right. Because they are all provided with trunks, because they all have trunks, so it must come from him. The relationships of the group are still partly wrapped in mystery. All right, so it says fossil remains of elephants have, on account of their common occurrence in various parts of the world, attracted a great deal of attention both from the learned and unlearned. In the north of Europe, they have been found in Ireland, in Germany, in Central Europe, in Poland, Middle and South Russia, Greece, Spain, Italy, also in Africa, and over a large part of Asia. In the New World, they have been found abundantly in North America. But in the frozen regions of Siberia, their teeth and bones are met with in very great abundance. We're back in the book Animals of the Past, an account of some of the creatures of the ancient world by Frederick A. Lucas, the director of the American Museum of Natural History. Now it says here, where the Mastodons originated, we know not. They don't know. Alright? Senora Menguino thinks their ancestors are to be found in Patagonia, and he is very probably wrong. Professor Copy thought they came from Asia, and he is probably right. So if you don't know, why are you saying he's wrong and he's right, right? Or they may have immigrated from the convenient Antarctica, which is called up to account for various facts in the distribution of animals. Neither do we at present know just how many species of mastodons there may have been in the Western Hemisphere, for most of them are known from scattered teeth, single jaws, and odd bones, so that we cannot tell just what differences may be due to sex or individual variation. It is certain, however, that several distinct kinds of species have inhabited various parts of North America, while remains of others occur in South America. The mastodon, however, the one most recent in point of time and the best known because of its remains, are scattered far and wide over pretty much the length and breadth of the United States and are found also in southern and western Canada, is that on which the law of priority seems to have inflicted the inappropriate name of Mammut Americanum. Alright, so they found so many that they gave it its own name and they actually classed it as American. Though dissenters who feel that it is better to be true than to be consistent still cling to Mastodon Americanus, and unless otherwise specified, this alone will be meant when the name mastodon is used. In some localities, the mastodon seems to have abounded, but between the Hudson and Connecticut rivers, indications of its former presence are rare, and east of that are particularly wanting. The best preserved specimens come from Ulster and Orange counties in New York, for these seem to have furnished the animals with the best facilities for getting married. Alright, so before I continue, just a couple examples of some of these so-called, elephants or mastodons, whatever. So this is a scientific name of Cuvieriunius. It's an extinct New World genus of Gomophoteres. Alright, Gomophoteres are any members of the diverse extinct taxonomic family Confroteridae. Confroteres were elephant-like proboscideans, but not belonging to the family Elephantidae. Alright, so you see, so because they're not over there in that side of the world, they say, oh, but they don't belong to the Elephantidae family. But these are elephants. These are the same thing. These are ancestors. So they were widespread in North America during the Miocene and Pleistocene. All right. Just want you to see how they looked. I got a couple pictures here of renditions. All right. Which was this one. All right. Check it out. All right. And then down here, they got this one right here. It says the oldest fossil remains to date are a Cuvier species found in Lincoln County, Nebraska, Nevada, which date to an accurate 4.6 million years ago. So this was found in Nevada. Check it out. Tell me why this is not an elephant in the Elephantidae family, right? So now they're classifying them differently. Now that's why you can't find them or saying that they were never in America. They originated in Africa or Asia. Alright, so they're not classifying these as elephants, but look at this. What is the difference? Tell me. It's very minimal. Then we got Stegomastodon. Says is an extinct genus of the Gomophoteres. Alright, again, a family of proboscideans. Also, now they are a family of the proboscideans. You see that? It is not to be confused with the genus Mammoth, for a different proboscidean family. Alright, so just want to show you real quick again. Just a little picture of how they see them here. So check this out. Alright, is that Utah? Nevada? What is this? Four Corner region. Look at this. And you see the horses. See all these elephants. Gophromatides, whatever you want to call them. They look just like elephants to me. You got Snow Mastodon. Look at the site where they found a lot of this stuff. Alright. And then it says discovery. They found a what? A Columbian mammoth. Alright, Columbian mammoth is an extinct species of mammoth that inhabited North America as far north as United States. Alright. and as far south as Costa Rica. Wow, so we had these Columbian mammoths here where I live. All right. It has a different picture here, right, of the Columbian mammoth. Let me show you that. This is the one right here. And look at that. Look at that, what that looks like. That was here in Costa Rica and all over North America. All right. They want you to not think like it was like an elephant like in Africa, but they're trying to mess with your perspective and your whole logic. Like, just look at this. All right. These originated here in America. All right. Originated here in America. Just a quick reminder, because it says here in Animals of the Past, an account of some of the creatures of the ancient world. Remember, this was written by the director of the American Museum of Natural History, page 149. He says, the mammoth, the exact birthplace of the mammoth, is as uncertain as that of many other great characters. They don't know where the mammoth originated. All right. We have mammoths over here in America. All right. We have a lot of close ancestors that resemble or eventually could have become elephants originating here in America. All right. So they don't know where his birthplace. All right. So again, this is the Columbian mammoth. Again, if they don't know where the mastodon or the mammoth originated, how can they tell you it doesn't originate in America? That's what we've been always telling you, right? So it's just a little bit of here about the elephant. We had an abundance of, we just saw the Father Crespi video, right? Father Crespi showing us all these artifacts he found, and many of them had elephants all over it. All right, we find elephants in the Maya codices and the temples, right? We found elephants all over the place in America. All right, the Lenape also have a depiction of an elephant or mammoth. All right, so it's just something to think about. I want to talk about now.
So we've done a lot of correlations so far, right? With mammals being here, originating here. So we're going to talk about the cat family, right? Or what they call the Felidae, right? The Felidae is a family of mammals in the order of Carnivora. All right, the Carnivora species or family. All right. So as I was just showing you here in prehistory.com, all right, we had an American lion. We had lions over here, right? We had lions in America. All right. Scientists tell you straight up they don't know if they had the mane or not. So they can't say it didn't when they try to dry it like it didn't. The American lion was substantially larger than the living lion, a lot bigger than the living lion of today, which is not really native to Africa, because remember, all those came into Africa. Bones from more than 100 individuals have been recovered from the Rancho La Brea asphalt deposit. All right, so they're from the Felidae family. All right, so I know you're gonna say, but Crimeo, they migrated into America. They came from Asia, right? All right, so let's see what's going on here. Now remember, in the beginning, mammals originated here in America, right? So it says here that the first cats emerged during the Oligocene about 25 million years ago with the appearance of Proilurus, all right, and Physedelurus. The latter species complex was ancestral to two main lines of felids, the cats in the extant subfamilies and a group of extinct cats of the subfamily, Machairodontinae, which include the saber-toothed cats such as the Smilodon, the false saber-toothed cats, the Bordobofelidae, and Nimrabidae, and not true cats, but are closely related. So you're gonna learn about all this, all right? Just bear with me. Together with the Felidae viverradiae, all right, hyenas and mongooses, they constitute the Feliformia. We're gonna see where all this originates, all right? So it says that the first cats come from these kind of the oldest they found and ancestors. They can't link them up with fossils, but this is the oldest type of cat-like animal they have found. They can't link it with modern cats. They're gonna tell you that, right? So let's just real quick. It says Proilurus is an extinct felid genus that lived in Europe and Asia approximately 25 million years ago, right? So they're telling you Europe and Asia here, right? But check this out. They'll tell you in the beginning they found in Europe and Asia, but as we go down, it says several Proilurus grade fossils have been found in North America, but remain undescribed. Why do they may not describe? This is what I'm trying to show you. They're not trying to have you study or even look at anything related to origins in America, especially when it comes to cats. They don't want you to know the lion, all that. So it remains undescribed. These include the queen quarry cat, known from a complete skull, which has dentition similar to Paralurus lemanisis, but a slightly larger skull. Robert Hunt also noticed several specimens that he believed belonged to Proilurus great felids, including a pair from the Sheep Creek site in Nebraska, one lynx-sized felid, the other closer in size to a leopard. He also noted a remarkably individual from East Cuyumungue locality, possibly the same species as the larger Sheep Creek specimen, and another specimen from Echo Quarry. All right, so all these they found in America. All right, and as you can see here, it says location of Proilurus fossil finds based on paleobiology database. All right, and look what it's telling you here in America as well. How come they didn't say that in the beginning? Right, they found this over here too. So how can they say it originated here when mammals originated in America? Right, now it says Proilurus is believed to have evolved from earlier Auliroid carnivorans such as Stegnogali and Haplogali. It is likely ancestor of Pesidaluris, which lived 20 to 10 million years ago and probably gave rise to the major felid lines. All right, so all these are the ancestors of cats, all right, including the extinct Machairodontes, the extinct felines and pantherines, although the phylogeny of the cats is still not precisely known. They don't know the origin, the true history of where they originated. All right, I know this is Wikipedia, but look at the source. All right, we're going to go to that right now. Now we're going to read from this article real quick. It says phylogeny and evolution of cats, Felidae, right? This is in a book called Biology and Conservation of Wild Felids from the Oxford University Press. All right, and we're going down to the article by Lars Werdeling, Nobuyuki Yamaguchi, Warren E. Johnson, and Stephen J. O'Brien. All right. Now it says here, cats, wild as well as domestic, fossil as well as living, are familiar to people around the world. The family Felidae has a worldwide distribution and has been associated with humans in various ways throughout history. Their functional morphology, ecology, and behavior have been the subject of intense scrutiny by scientists for over 200 years. They keep changing their mind. This is what I'm trying to show you. The fossil records of cats is extensive, and some of its members are among the most recognizable of extinct animals. Despite all this, the phylogeny and evolution of the family Felidae, and even the content of the family, have remained poorly understood. All right, it's been poorly understood. They're guessing when they're saying it originated. All right, so it says that when they tell you where they found the first, which is called Proilurus, they'll tell you it's in France. All right, so as it says here, in the fissure filling of the Quarry region in France, where most of our knowledge of early European carnivores originates, feliforms are not known before millennia, 21 millennia. All right, so they're not known before that. Owing to the scarcity of their remains, modern excavations have yet to establish the first occurrence of the Felidae. All right, that's a big one right there. I hope you understood that. They haven't been able to establish the origin of the Felidae family or the cat family. All right, the scarcity of their remains, modern excavations have yet to establish the first occurrence of the Felidae. What we know, however, suggests that some older known finds may be from early Oligocene, that is before the 28.4 millennia ago. Thus, the earliest felids appeared sometime between 35 millennia. All right, it says, it is well established on morphological grounds, basic cranial as well as dental, that Proilurus, known from the quarry fissure fields, but also from excellent material from the early Miocene site of Saint-Germain-le-Puy, France, right, that it was a felid. So they're telling you they know that this so-called ancestor of the cats, because it's a felid, it's a cat-like animal. Despite this, the morphological path leading to the felid, all right, condition is not well delineated. All right, so they're telling you that there's no trace. They can't trace it like with each passing generation or species, right? They only know that this is a cat-like animal. This is the oldest they found, but we already know they found some in America too, right? So they don't know where the cat family originated. Now let's read about the Eleuroidae. It's an extinct superfamily of the feline-like carnivores that are or were endemic to what? North America and South America Africa and Asia. Endemic. What does endemic mean? Native or isolated to that region, of that region. All right. So the superfamily of feline-like carnivores is endemic to North America. All right. The superfamily includes the families of Felidae, right? Cats, right? Hespertidae, mongoose, right? Hyanidae, Hyanidae, and Viveridae. All right. So let's take a look about some of these. So it says Viveravidae is an extinct family within the superfamily Myacoida. All right. So Myacoida, it says here, is a paraphyletic superfamily that has been traditionally divided into two families of carnivores, Myosidae and Viveridae. All right. So these, they're talking about like carnivore-like animals. All right. They are related to carnivorans and lived from the early Paleocene to the Eocene. Now further down it says the Viveravids were thought to be the earliest carnivorans. They first appeared in the Paleocene of North America about 60 million years ago. North America. The first carnivorans. Wang and Thetford proposed that they arose in North America 65 to 60 million years ago, spread to Asia, then later to Europe. All right. So what are they telling you? That carnivores, right, originated where? In North America. Now that would include cats, right? Lions, all that. The cat family, they're carnivores, right? So we read earlier, right, that the lion came into, right? Dogs came into, all these animals came into Africa just 10 million years ago. All right. But we see that carnivores been in Americas over 65 million years ago, right? According to their studies, right? So it says here, earliest known carnivoran auditory bulla and support for a recent origin of crown group Carnivora, all right? By P. David Polly, Gina D. Wesley Hahn, Ronald E. Heinrich, Graham Davis, Peter Hout, School of Biological Sciences, Dental Biophysics Group, Queen Mary University of London, all right? I'm just gonna go down to a certain part. Now it says here, in this paper we describe the first auditory bulla found in Viveridae, remember carnivorans, the first carnivorans, and use it to place the group in a phylogenetic context. Until this discovery, the lack of specimens of early carnivorans in which the bulla and other basic cranial structures were preserved made phylogenetic relationships between Viverids and living carnivore difficult to reconstruct. They didn't know before. Viveravids are the earliest carnivorans known in the fossil record, first appearing in the Paleocene of North America about 60 million years ago. All right, but they are derived in having lost their third molar. Some authors have argued that Viverids belong to the stem group Carnivora with no special relation to any subgroup. All right, we're in this book called Evolution of Tertiary Mammals of North America, Volume 1. It's very small here, but I'll read it out to you. It says, all known families of credons and carnivorans, with the exception of the carnivoran families Viveridae and Hesperitidae mongoose, have been found in territory of North America. All right, so even before the Viverids came around that we just read, we're talking about a very long time ago, tertiary North America. All right, so it says that all these families of credons and carnivorans basically came out of or were found in the territory of North America. Although the Hyanidae are represented only by a single Pliocene genus, Oaxinids, Credonta, and Canids, carnivora, canids or dogs, right? Canids, dogs, carnivora, probably originated in North America. Their earliest records and main centers of radiation and diversification are in North America, all right? Ursids also probably originated in North America. If you don't know what the ursid is, basically where you get bears from. All right, so they're telling you dogs, bears, and all this stuff ursids probably originated in North America. Not probably, they did. Although this was not their main center of radiation. Although Procyonids, carnivora, have an old world origin and do not appear in North America until the Miocene, today they are known almost exclusively from the New World. They've been here. All right, so now we're going to talk about the Caniformia family or species, or Canoida, literally dog-like, is a suborder within the order of Carnivora. Remember, Carnivora or carnivorans originated in America. All right, so we're going to read about them. It says here in Wikipedia that the center of diversification for Caniformia is North America and Northern Eurasia. All right. So we're in this book now. It's called The Beginning of the Age of Mammals by Kenneth D. Rose. All right. And just going to continue. It says caniforms can be divided into two clades, Sinoidea canids and Artoidea, all other caniforms. Early canids were common in North America, but did not reach the Old World until the late Miocene. All right. So what current evidence indicates that canids, or dogs, right, originated in North America, whereas Artoids evolved in the Old World and dispersed multiple times to North America. All right, so but they, came from here originally. Now it says canids, again, dogs, right, or foxes, wolves, coyotes, and jackals, which are cursorial, relatively omnivorous carnivores. Again, dogs are from where? America, originated in North America. Dogs, again, Xolotl, right, Anubis, that was here, man. That was over here. We got the oldest dogs. Again, mammals originated in America, right? It says the most extensive fossil record of early Farae or Carnivora forma Hyadodonti and Oxynanidae is centered in North America. North America. You guys starting to see the trend. We're gonna keep here in America. During the Eocene, both cradon groups, bivalves, maiacids, and caniform carnivores are known from all three Laurasian continents, and nimrabids, filiforms were present in North America and Europe. Crown-clade carnivore did not appear until the mid-late Eocene, and all basal carnivores were extinct by the late Eocene. Carniforms always were far more diverse in North America than any other continent. As noted above, Eocene nimrabids are known from Europe and North America, but the earliest crown-clade feloids are known only from the early Oligocene of Europe. All right, so when we start talking about cats and lions and all that, we got to know that, they found the closest or oldest type of cat here in America. They know the mammals came out of here, the first carnivores and all these canifornians again. And also this Pseudodalurus, it says here, prehistoric cat that lived in Europe, Asia, and North America. All right, so again, when you read about origin of things, and you got to keep researching, you got to go really deep with it. Don't just go with the first thing you read. Oh, it was originated in Asia, and then you got to try to see other sources and other information to see if that's the truth. You know what I mean? So when you look at a lion, as you can see here, just picture them, lions, elephants, all that stuff walking in North America. All right, American lion, Panthera atrox. All right, and we had the Panthera onca, right, the jaguar. It says that late Pleistocene of North America, 180 to 10,000 years ago. All right, from the Carnivora Felidae family, right? And we also had the American cheetah. Yeah, we had cheetahs, right? American cheetah. Scientific name Miracinonyx trumani. All right, carnivore. We had the first carnivores, right? When did it become extinct? The American cheetah is thought to have become extinct 10,000 years ago. I wonder what happened. We're talking about floods here. This cat was native to North America. All right, the pronghorn antelope, Antiquities Americana of North America, is one of the fastest land animals on the planet, able to reach speeds of 100 kilometers per hour for short bursts and 40 to 50 kilometers per hour over long distances. Why does it need such a turn of speed? There are no American predators that can sprint anywhere near fast enough to catch an adult. Pronghorn is a straight pursuit. Well, there aren't any today. Some scientists believe that the pronghorn evolved to run so quickly as a way of evading an American cat that evolved along the same lines as the African cheetah, a slender feline built for speed. This was the American cheetah. The idea of cheetah-like animals sprinting after pronghorns on the American Great Plains seems far-fetched, but prehistoric America was a very different place from place we know today. All right, so I think I'm gonna end this here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a lot of confusion and a lot of trying to put together a lot of correlation and all that, but if we just use a little bit of logic and common sense, and we start seeing the patterns and the trends here and where these animals are really originating in their ancestors, we got to go back to the ancestors, right? Where's this true source? And you'll start seeing that it's mainly in America here, the real so-called old world. All right, Atlantis, the terrestrial paradise, the real Garden of Eden. All right, America, Amaruka, Amarukan. All right,